revealed how a millionaire's heart was touched by a poor girl's incredible story at a bus stop. Max Anderson, the high-flying millionaire, stood at the bus stop, drenched in the grayness of a rainy Tuesday afternoon. His tailored suit and polished shoes shimmered with raindrops, but inside, he felt more like the sparse, cold concrete beneath his feet. Each tick of the watch reminded him of the business deals waiting for him in his high-rise office. Yet, despite the opulence surrounding him, a deep emptiness gnawed at his core, like a hollow echo that reverberated through his life as the minutes dragged on. Annoyance curling in his chest, he glanced sideways. A girl, no older than 17, sat on the edge of the curb. A soaked book bag rested beside her, forgotten in the downpour. Her head hung low, eyes locked onto the ground. The stark contrast between their worlds was almost comical. He was drowning in wealth while she seemed burdened by the raw weight of existence. When their eyes met, something shifted. There was a connection, a flicker of understanding that transcended the barriers of class and circumstance. Max felt an urge to bridge the distance. "What's your story?" He found himself asking, surprised by his own curiosity. She looked up, surprise mingling with determination as she answered. "I want to be a veterinarian," she shared, her voice soft yet fierce, like a storm gathering strength. With each word, she painted a picture of resilience, stitching together tales of family struggles and dreams that reached far beyond their neighborhood. She spoke of her parents, brave and exhausted, fighting against the tides of life, and the pressures she felt to succeed while working 2 jobs and studying for exams. Something inside Max shifted. He felt a tightness in his chest. Sophie wasn't just a girl at a bus stop. She was a beacon of hope. Every wound she revealed echoed the values he had learned but often forgot. Hard work, family, dreams against the odds. Yet, there was a sharpness to her story that stung. As she recounted her father's battle post-military, Max felt an indignation bubbling within him. How could a country that champions freedom allow her to be shackled by such struggles? In this fleeting interaction, Sophie became more than an inspiring tale. She became a mirror reflecting his own blind spots, forcing him to confront years of easy living as the bus headlights cut through the rain. Illuminating Sophie's face, she revealed the most heart-wrenching truth yet. The weight of responsibility lay heavy on her young shoulders. Max's heart ached. Recognizing the stark reality, she faced countless barriers to her dreams. It rattled him to his very core, awakening an urgency he hadn't felt in years, perhaps ever. Before they parted ways with the bus pulling to a stop, Max made a silent vow. He couldn't let her story slip away like raindrops washing down the street. He'd find a way to help, to bridge the gap, to be more than a spectator in her life. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue as the bus doors closed behind her. Sophie's haunted yet hopeful gaze lingered in his mind. Torn between worlds, Max stood alone, drenched not just with rain, but with a fierce realization. The bus pulled away, leaving him grappling with questions that now felt all too pressing. What steps would he take? Would he dare step out of the comfort and privilege he had become accustomed to? The moment hung heavy in the air, echoing with the promise of change or deepening stagnation. The city buzzed around him, but within, he felt the stirrings of a decision that could redefine him, leaving his heart racing with possibilities yet to unfold. Max stood there, watching the bus disappear into the gray mist. The weight of Sophie's words still hung in the air, pressing against him like the clouds overhead. He could hardly believe how a simple conversation could spark so much within him. It was as if the intricate pieces of his life had been jumbled in a kaleidoscope, and she was the first to shift them back into focus. His mind raced with plans. She wants to be a veterinarian, he mused, shaking his head slightly. What do I even know about that? Or helping her? He reached for his phone, contemplating what move to make next, but hesitated. How could he, someone ensconced in wealth and privilege, even begin to understand her struggles? Max turned on his heel, glancing at the office building that loomed before him, its sharp lines and imposing glass facade a stark reminder of his world. With every step toward it, he felt heavier, as if chains were slowly being forged to bind his feet. But Sophie's face, her determined eyes, ignited a flicker of rebellion within him. No, he whispered to himself, I can't just let this go. As he walked into the building, the environment felt different, even the air seemed stale with complacency. Colleagues greeted him with the predictable nods and small talk, but all he could think about was the girl with the soaked book bag waiting at the bus stop. He didn't belong here, not today. Max made his way to his office and slumped into his chair. The view was breathtaking, towering skyscrapers kissing the clouds, but somehow, it all felt distant and hollow. He was caught in a web of meetings and deadlines, and yet today felt like a turning point. Sophia's story echoed in his head. Her hopes, her burdens, and the grit she embodied. He couldn't shake the feeling that he had been chosen for something greater than transactions and profits. What if, he murmured to himself, searching for clarity as his fingers danced over the keyboard? What if he reached out to local organizations? What if he could fund a scholarship for aspiring vets? The thought sent a rush of excitement through him, followed by a pang of doubt. What if it didn't work? But as he wrestled with the fear of failing, another truth emerged. The real failure would be to do nothing. He pushed the swirling thoughts aside and began typing furiously, looking for the right contacts to connect with. Sophie deserves a shot, he thought, his heart pounding with newfound purpose. Hours slipped away as he crafted a plan that felt both daunting and incredibly thrilling. He felt a sense of urgency more intense than any board meeting or merger he had ever encountered. With each email, he imagined Sophia's smile stretched wide as she walked through the doors of a vet school. Just as he leaned back, feeling a spark of victory, his phone buzzed with a message from his assistant. Max, the team is wondering if you'll join the meeting on the new partnership. Starting soon. He hesitated, torn between the allure of wealth and the tug of compassion pulling him in a new direction. What was going to matter more in the long run? Another business deal or saving a dream? His heart raced as he texted back, I'll be there in 5 minutes. But that 5 minutes felt like a lifetime. And as he stood up, Sophie's determined voice echoed in his heart, urging him to fight for something bigger. As he walked toward the conference room, a decision crystallized within him, a resolve to embrace the echo of her story. Yet deep in his gut, he knew he was just at the beginning of this journey, and a new question lingered. What consequences would his pledge to help Sophie unleash? With the door to the meeting room in sight, Max steeled himself. What awaited him on the other side could change everything. Max paused at the door, gripping the handle tightly. A moment of indecision held him hostage. He could hear the voices inside the room, his team discussing strategies like machines, financially cold and calculating. But behind his eyes, he felt the warmth of Sophie's aspirations, pulsing like a heart that refused to be stilled. Taking a deep breath, he pushed the door open and stepped in. The room fell silent, all eyes turning to him. He forced a smile, trying to mask the turmoil brewing within. Sorry, I got caught up in some things, he said, attempting nonchalance, but he could feel the weight of his own hypocrisy. As the meeting progressed, Max found it hard to concentrate. Forecasts, percentages, graphs, they all melted together into a haze. When his colleague presented the potential profits from the new partnership, Max's stomach twisted. What does this even matter? He thought, a growing urgency to connect with a deeper purpose bubbling inside him. Max, the voice of his business partner snapped him back. What do you think? He blinked, caught off guard. Yeah, great. Sounds like a solid plan, he replied hesitantly, but his heart wasn't in it. Instead, he couldn't help but picture Sophie, her dreams, her struggles, the way she fought not just to survive, but to reach for something more. The meeting dragged on, each slide feeling like a chain link dragging him back. With every moment that passed, The distance from Sophie widened, and his shoulders slumped under the weight of guilt. He could feel it simmering inside him, a voice demanding that he do something meaningful. Finally, after what felt like hours, the meeting came to an end. He remained seated, staring blankly at the screen, while his colleagues filed out, laughing and exchanging banter. Alone in the quiet room, he felt the urge to take action surge again within him. Max pulled out his phone and started to draft a message to a local nonprofit aimed at helping students in underserved communities pursue higher education. He hesitated, thumb hovering over the screen. This wasn't just about money. This was about lives and futures. Each scholarship could be a lifeline, a step towards making Sophie's dream real. Just as he finished typing, his assistant popped her head in. "Hey Max, are you coming to the charity gala next week? It's for that local community center trying to get kids interested in the sciences." He looked up, an idea sparking to life. "Absolutely. Can you get me tickets?" A surprised smile crossed her face. "Sure thing." With that, excitement flared within him. Networking, fundraising, making connections, this was where he could leverage his privilege, and Sophie was what ignited this shift in his world. It became clear to him that he was entering something bigger than business. He was part of a movement born from personal empowerment and hope. As he walked out of the conference room, he felt the gravity of change swirling around him. Engaging with the community took on a new flavor, a heartwarming purpose rooted in Sophie's story. There was still so much uncertainty ahead. He didn't know how this would unfold, or if the challenges would be overwhelming. Would he be brave enough to step into unknown territory? As he entered the bustling office space, he noticed a framed photo on a nearby desk of a happy group of kids at a science camp. Without thinking, he picked it up and traced the smiling faces with his finger. At that moment, he knew he was ready to find a way to make a difference. But then a gnawing thought struck him. What if he failed? Would Sophie understand? Those questions churned in his mind as he departed for the day, a renewed determination illuminating his path. He felt lighter yet burdened by the weight of what lay ahead. The real journey was just beginning, and he couldn't help but wonder. Would his resolve be enough to truly change a life, and what obstacles were waiting to test him along the way? Max couldn't shake the feeling of anticipation as he prepared for the charity gala. The mere thought of stepping into the lavish ballroom filled with well-dressed individuals sank a knot in his stomach. He was trading his usual business mindset for something more open, perhaps even vulnerable. As the night approached, he polished his shoes and adjusted his tie, staring at his reflection in the mirror. This was not just another networking event. It was a chance to engage with the community, to lean into the world that was so different from his own. He thought about Sophie and how she would see this moment. Would she be proud? Would she understand what he was trying to do? When he arrived at the venue, the atmosphere buzzed with excitement. Laughter and music spilled into the air, mixing with the clinking of glasses. Max stepped inside, the warm glow of chandeliers creating a dreamlike impression. Beautiful displays filled with colorful flowers and elegant decorations surrounded him. But all he felt was an undercurrent of nerves. Max grabbed a drink and scanned the crowd. Every smiling face seemed to portray success, confidence, and certainty. He suddenly felt out of place among the glimmering socialites and business moguls who chatted effortlessly about investments and ventures. "Hey Max!" A cheerful voice broke through his hesitation. It was his assistant, Laura, approaching with a radiant smile. "You made it." She led him toward a small group gathered around a table topped with pamphlets showcasing different community programs. "Thanks for the invite. This is really impressive," he replied, still feeling somewhat overwhelmed. Laura introduced him to several people, sharing snippets about the charity's impactful work. Max tried to engage, but his mind was spinning. He felt like an imposter, standing alongside those who were well-versed in philanthropy. The goal was to raise funds, but his heart pulled him in a different direction. He didn't want just to write checks. He wanted to make a real difference. "Max!" A voice called from behind him. He turned to see Sophie's mentor, Mr. Reynolds, striding confidently across the room. "I was hoping I'd see you here, Mr. Reynolds. I didn't expect you to come." Max's heart leaped. The man had been a guide and a champion for Sophie, and now he seemed to radiate warmth and purpose. I wouldn't miss it. The youth of our community depend on this, and you, my friend, have a chance to be a game changer, Mr. Reynolds said, eyeing Max closely. Have you thought about how you'd like to get involved? The question settled heavily on his shoulders. Suddenly, Max felt the moment shift. The gala was no longer just a social event, but a pivotal point where he could decide who he wanted to be both in business and in his own heart. Yeah, I want to help. I want to create opportunities, he stammered, determination flooding his voice. This has to be more than just about money, it's about lives and futures. That's the spirit, Mr. Reynolds replied, clapping him on the back. People like you can inspire hope and change. Maybe even launch a scholarship fund. As they talked, warmth blossomed despite the room's chill. Max could see the flicker of enthusiasm in Mr. Reynolds' eyes. He was not just impressed by Max's wealth, but by his willingness to connect that wealth to meaningful change. But then doubt crept back in. What if this was all too ambitious for him? What if he stumbled in front of everyone? Fear tightened around his heart as he watched others stray into the night's celebrations. Max scanned the room once more, uncertain and inspired at once. Just then, his gaze caught Sophie stepping through the grand entrance. She looked radiant, her face lit up by the soft glow of the chandeliers. She was out of her element, yet brave, a reminder to him of what this was truly about. Could he muster the courage to step up and embrace this chance for something greater? Would Sophie see him for who he truly was and not just who he pretended to be? As they made eye contact, hope surged within him. Would tonight be the night that everything changed, when he could actively shape a brighter future? But deep down, a haunting question lingered as he walked toward her. Was he ready for the responsibility that came with making a difference? Max made his way through the crowd, every step feeling bolder as he approached Sophie. Her smile radiated warmth, and in that moment, it felt like the chaos around him faded away. It was just her, and the flicker of hope in his chest. "Hey, you made it!" Sophie exclaimed as he reached her. She was wearing a deep blue dress that complemented her hair, the way it danced across her shoulders almost as if it played to the rhythm of an unspoken tune. "Yeah, I thought it was important to be here," he replied, his voice steadier than he anticipated. "I'm so glad you're here." Sophie's eyes shimmered with excitement. This gala is all about building connections and supporting these incredible programs. I wish you could see it through my eyes. Max absorbed her enthusiasm, but the nagging doubt still lingered in the corners of his mind. "I want to help, but I'm not sure what I can do," he admitted. Before she could respond, a group of well-dressed guests moved in, capturing her attention. They gathered around, discussing the latest initiatives, the words flying fast and confidently over his head. As they chatted animatedly, Max felt like an outsider looking in. His heart sank a little. "So, Max," one of the guests turned to him with a sly smile that felt more intimidating than inviting. "What are you planning to donate tonight?" Max hesitated, the question hanging like an uninvited guest in the air. "I haven't decided yet. I'm still figuring out how best to contribute," he stammered, feeling exposed. "Oh, come on. You're a millionaire, right? You surely see the value in throwing money at a cause," the guest said, chuckling as if it were all a game. A wave of frustration surged within Max. Was that what it meant? Just money? He was desperate to show that he wanted more, that this was personal, but the words felt stuck in his throat, fighting against the tide of their engagement. Sophie noticed his unease and, with a gracious smile, gently pulled him aside. "Don't worry about them," she said softly. "You're here for a reason. And it's not just about donations, it's about making connections that matter." "Right," he said, allowing her words to penetrate his self-doubt. "I guess I just feel overwhelmed." "Understandable. But you're not alone in this," she responded, her sincerity soothing his anxiety. "Each person here has their journey. It's not just about money, it's about heart." Max nodded, feeling a little lighter. Maybe he could find a way to share more than just his resources, but pieces of himself too. The desire to connect, to nurture, to uplift, that was his true wealth. As time passed, He and Sophie lost themselves in conversations about the gala's different programs, their laughter mingling with the music that filled the air. Each shared idea lit a spark in Max. He started seeing clear pathways to involvement, mentorship, hands-on programs, opportunities for the youth. Suddenly, his phone buzzed in his pocket. He pulled it out, expecting a mundane notification. Instead, he received a message from Mr. Reynolds. "Let us make tonight count, Max. Your ideas could bring change. Meet me at the main stage shortly." His stomach tightened again, excitement mixed with anxiety. Could this be the moment? He exchanged a glance with Sophie, and there was something in her expression understanding, urging. "I have to find Mr. Reynolds," Max said, feeling empowered. "Go for it. I'll be here waiting," she replied, her confidence bolstering his newfound resolve. Max pushed through the crowd, heart racing with anticipation and fear. He realized he was ready to fight his way past the doubt. This was his chance. As he approached the main stage, the realization struck him: what if he truly could make a difference? What if stepping up tonight meant not only influencing lives but grabbing hold of his own? But just before he reached the stage, a sudden commotion erupted. "Max, wait!" came a frantic voice. He turned to see Laura rushing towards him, her expression a mix of urgency and disbelief. Max's heart pounded harder as he wondered, what now? What could possibly stop him when he was so close to his realization? As he looked back over his shoulder, anticipation hung tight in the air, leaving him to ponder whether this was a distraction or the true beginning of his journey. Laura reached him, breathless, her eyes wide and glistening. For a moment, the noise of the gala faded into an indistinct hum, enveloping them in a bubble of tension and urgency. "Max, you have to hear this," she said, pulling him away from the noise of the main stage. She glanced around as if to ensure no one could overhear their conversation. "It's about a young girl named Mia. She's 15 and living in the shelter. She has an incredible story, one that could really change how people see things." Max's heart sank with confusion. "A girl in a shelter? Is she okay?" Laura nodded quickly. "Yeah, she is safe for now. But her story, it broke my heart when I first heard it. She has been through so much, yet she still believes that hope exists." "Then why are we standing here?" Max felt an urgency rising within him. This wasn't just a story. This was a call to action. Sophie was still a few feet away, watching the two of them with a furrowed brow. He wanted to turn back to her, share this new revelation. But there was something captivating in Laura's expression that kept him focused. "She has this talent for writing," Laura continued, her voice pitching higher with excitement. "She writes poems about her experiences and dreams. She wants to share them, to show people that even in darkness, there can be light." Max could feel something deep inside him shift. "And I want to help her," Laura said, her voice earnest. "But we need support. We could put her work out there, give her a platform to speak. Max, you have connections, resources. This could be huge." Max listened, pulse quickening. Part of him wanted to be angry at Laura for interrupting his moment with Mr. Reynolds and Sophie. But another part was swelling with inspiration. Somehow, this girl's story connected with everything he had been wrestling with. Felt pivotal. "What does she need?" he asked, his determination now solidifying into focus. "Mentorship, a chance to write, to be heard. A scholarship for school. The shelter has limited resources, but Mia is so talented. I just know that if she gets the right support, she could inspire others," Laura explained, her hands animated in the air. Max took a deep breath, imagining Mia sitting in front of a notepad scribbling down her dreams. What a world it could be if she had the opportunity to shine. "I need to meet her," Max said, conviction fueling his voice. "We have to do something real, something lasting." Laura smiled at him, her relief evident. Yes, this could really change her life. Max turned to look at the main stage again, anxiety creeping back in. His chance to meet Mr. Reynolds felt smaller now beneath the weight of this revelation. But deep down, he knew this was more than just a distraction. It was a calling. That he spotted Sophie watching him, her brow relaxed, a hint of a smile on her lips now. Maybe this was the connection he'd been searching for, not just with Sophie, but with the community, with the people who needed him. Laura, take me to her, he urged, already moving in the direction he hoped would lead to something greater. As they pushed past the other gala-goers, the music faded into the background, and the vibrant atmosphere transformed into a focused mission. What is it about stories that could ignite such fire in a heart? He felt lighter, yet weighed down with purpose. But a nagging thought crept in. What if Mia's story unraveled something inside of him he wasn't ready to confront? Ahead, he could see the shelter's representative waiting, a kind woman with a clipboard. All that Max had to do was step forward, but the anxiety clawed at him. As they approached, he wondered if this was truly the beginning of his journey, or the emergence of something he'd spent years hiding from. Would he be ready for whatever revelations awaited him? Stepping closer to the woman with the clipboard, Max felt his heartbeat quicken, a mixture of fear and excitement coursing through him. He could hear the chatter of the gala swirling around him, but nothing could drown out the surge of determination he felt bubbling up. This was more than a chance meeting. It was an opportunity to make a real difference. "Hi there," the woman said, her smile warm and inviting. "You must be Max. I've heard a lot about you." He nodded, trying to hide the nerves tightening in his stomach. "Yeah, I'm here to meet Mia." Laura stood beside him, her eyes sparkling with anticipation. "We want to help her. She has an amazing talent." The representative's face softened at the mention of Mia. "Oh, she really is something special. Let me take you to her." They walked through a narrow hallway adorned with framed photographs of smiling children, a stark reminder of the joy often overshadowed by their struggles. Max could feel the weight of their stories bearing down on him. The contrast was jarring. Finally, the woman pushed open a door, revealing a cozy room filled with bright decorations. In the corner, Mia sat with a notebook on her lap, scribbling furiously. Her hair was a messy bun, and she wore oversized glasses that didn't quite fit her small face. She looked up as they entered, her brown eyes wide with curiosity. "Hey, Mia, you have two special visitors," the representative said gently. Mia blinked, and the moment seemed to stretch. Max felt his breath catch as he locked eyes with her. There was a fierceness in her gaze, a glimmer of hope that seemed to pierce right through his uncertainty. "Hello," she said, her voice soft yet confident. "I'm Max." He extended his hand, suddenly feeling like a giant next to her. "I've heard a lot about you and your writing." Her cheeks flushed slightly, and she shifted in her seat. "You want to know about my poems?" "More than that," Max replied earnestly. "I want to help you get your voice out there. People need to hear your story." The hope in Mia's eyes flickered, and he could almost see her weighing his words. "Really? You mean it?" Max nodded, feeling his own excitement rise. "Absolutely. I think your story is important, Mia. Can inspire so many people. You show strength in your writing, and I want to help you share it." Laura beamed at Max, and he felt a sense of purpose building between them. But Mia hesitated, biting her lip, a shadow crossing her face. "What if I fail?" she asked, a tremor of vulnerability in her voice. "No one is saying you will," Laura said, stepping closer. "This is a chance to rise above what's holding you back. Remember, every successful person has faced doubt. It's part of the journey. But you have talent and a voice that deserves to be heard." Mia glanced down at her notebook, and in that moment, Max realized that this was not just about helping her. This was about giving her the freedom to embrace her truth. "Will you let us help you?" he asked, his heart pounding with the weight of the question. A small, almost fragile smile broke across Mia's face. "If you really want to." "I do," he promised fervently, and a spark ignited in the room, a shared understanding among them. But just as hope filled the air, the reality of Max's own fears crept back in. What if by helping Mia he had to confront his own past? Tension hung there, thick as a rope, binding them together in that small room full of dreams, and beneath that newfound hope lingered the question. Could he face his own shadows while bringing light to Mia's? The uncharted territory ahead felt daunting, yet thrilling. And as Max stood ready to take that leap, He realized this journey was going to challenge everything he thought he knew about courage. What was he truly willing to give up to help someone else find their voice? The room pulsed with a silent energy. As Mia's smile grew, so did Max's determination. He could feel the muddle of his thoughts twisting and turning, but there was clarity there too. This was it. A chance not just to help Mia but to rediscover parts of himself he thought were lost forever. Mia closed her notebook, her fingers curling into its pages as if holding on to something deeply precious. "So, what do we do next?" she asked, her voice wavering between excitement and fear. Max exchanged a glance with Laura. Contentment washed over her face, but he sensed the weight of their shared responsibility. He had to be the one to navigate this. "Well, the first thing is to get that poetry published. Would you be open to sharing your best pieces?" Mia nodded slowly, her confidence building. "I think I have a few I could show you. They mean a lot to me. It's just, what if nobody likes them?" Laura leaned in, her voice soothing. "That's the beauty of art. It's personal, and not every piece will resonate with everyone. But your story, Mia, your voice, those are what matter." Max added, trying to infuse enthusiasm. "Every writer has faced rejection. It's part of the process. Getting your work out there is a step toward something beautiful." Mia took a deep breath and released it. "Okay, I'll show you." As she turned back to her notebook, the air crackled with expectation. She flipped through pages until her fingers landed on a piece. With a small sigh, she began to read aloud, her soft voice steadying into a rhythm that resonated in the cozy space. "Sometimes I see the world through shattered glass," she began, her eyes glowing with the emotion woven into each line. The words flowed like a stream, filled with pain, yearning, and resilience. Max sat captivated, completely entranced by Mia's raw talent. It was as if she was pouring her soul out right there, unlocking emotions he had long tucked away, the kind that throbbed and ached yet demanded to be acknowledged. As she concluded, the room fell into a profound silence. "Wow," he finally breathed, a lump forming in his throat. "That was incredible." Mia's cheeks turned crimson, and a radiant smile stretched across her face. "Really? Really? You have something unique, something that makes people feel. That's what makes a great writer," Laura added, her eyes gleaming, encouraged by their reactions. Mia scribbled some more notes, her anxiety melting away. The atmosphere shifted, blossoming into hope. In that moment, something deep within Max began to stir. Maybe he could face his past after all. Maybe this journey was as much for him as it was for her. They discussed potential titles for her collection. Laughter filled the room, weaving a tapestry of dreams and possibilities. Yet, lurking behind every smile was a whisper of uncertainty. Just then, there was a soft knock at the door, and it opened to reveal a group of enthusiastic voices. They were eager to speak with Mia. More visitors swept in with visions of collaboration and excitement. Max watched as Mia's expression shifted from joy to apprehension, the shadows creeping back into her eyes. "Wait, maybe we should start small," she stammered, her voice quivering. The bravado she had just displayed began to unravel. "No," Max exclaimed, a little too fiercely. "They need to see your light. This is your moment." His heart raced. Would his own insecurities cloud her shining moment? Would he be strong enough to help her stand tall? He stood up, a sense of urgency coursing through him. "Mia, you've got this," he encouraged, stepping closer. "Let them in. Let them see who you are." As the crowd gathered around Mia, anticipation built, igniting a fire in Max. However, a chilling realization washed over him. To help her seize this moment, he would have to confront the very fears that had haunted him for years. Could he truly help Mia shine without losing himself in the process? The opportunity was before him, but would he falter or find the strength to embrace both their journeys? Would this new chapter lead to clarity, or would it threaten to unravel everything? Mia took a hesitant step back as the crowd's presence engulfed her, their eager faces a mix of admiration and curiosity. Her heart hammered in her chest, not just from the thrill of attention but from the gripping fear of exposure. She had never wanted to be at the center of a spotlight. Her words were her sanctuary, not a stage. Max noticed the shift in her demeanor and felt a jolt of urgency. She was ready to soar, but the weight of doubt was pulling her down. "Mia," he whispered, leaning closer, "you have to trust yourself. You've already shown us what you can do. This is only the beginning." Laura, sensing the tension, stepped forward, her warm smile cutting through the atmosphere. "Everyone, this is Mia," she introduced, as if unveiling a masterpiece. "I know you're all excited. Let her share her magic." The crowd murmured their approval, leaning in with hopeful anticipation. Mia glanced back at Max, his earnest expression bolstering her faint courage. She nodded, trying to quiet her racing heart, and stepped forward again. "Hi, everyone," Mia began, her voice shaky but growing steadier with each word. "I've written some poetry, and I'd like to share it with you." Emboldened by their encouraging nods, she opened her notebook to the first poem she had recited before. With a deep breath, she let the words flow from her heart. "Sometimes I see the world through shattered glass." As her voice gained strength, she felt an extraordinary shift. The room pulsed with her words, illuminating her insecurities and fears, revealing a truth she fought to hide. She spoke about pain, dreams, and the beauty of resilience, and with every line, she shed layers of vulnerability. The crowd listened intently, caught in her world. Max watched her transform. Her nerves became passion. Her uncertainty blossomed into confidence. When she finished, silence enveloped the room before it erupted into applause. The sound warmed her, and for a brief moment, she felt invincible. "Wow, Mia, that was incredible," one voice exclaimed. "Do you have more?" "Yes," another added, pushing forward. "We'd love to hear more of your poems." Mia's face lit up with surprise and joy, a radiant smile breaking through her earlier apprehension. She could hardly believe it. The shadows that had loomed in her mind began to recede. But as she prepared to share again, Max felt the weight of expectation shift from Mia to himself. Would he be able to continue supporting her when the stakes were this high? The thought of his own vulnerabilities loomed like a specter. "Mia," he called out, before she began her next poem, his voice steady yet laced with his own anxiety. "You're not alone in this. We're all feeling your words. Just let it flow." She looked at him, sensing the depth of their connection. Suddenly, it wasn't just about her performance. It was about their journey together. The crowd was not just there for her. They were a part of something bigger, an honest moment of human connection. As her next poem unfolded, the atmosphere thickened with emotion. Mia dug deep into her soul, anchoring her words with truths she hadn't even fully admitted to herself yet. And Max realized that she was not just uncovering her light, but inviting him to shine with her. Before she could lose herself in the moment, a familiar voice cut through the warmth, bringing a chill that froze time. "Mia." Everyone turned, faces shifting from admiration to confusion. There, at the edge of the door, stood someone from Mia's past, a presence that sent a wave of dread washing over her. Max's heart sank in tandem with Mia's hope. Could they weather this storm together? What secrets would her past unravel now? The air grew charged with tension as all eyes turned to the newcomer, awaiting either reconciliation or confrontation. What would Mia do? Would she stand tall or falter? The true test of their journey was just beginning. Max's heart pounded in his chest as he peered at the figure blocking the doorway. The air felt electric, thick with an unspoken conflict that threatened to unleash chaos upon the fragile bubble Mia had created. "Mia, we need to talk," the intruder said, his voice grating and abrasive, slicing through the clapping echoes that had filled the room. His gaze swept past the crowd, landing on her as if she were the target. Mia's face froze, vulnerability crashing over her once vibrant expression. Max could see the fear flicker across her features, the vibrant light of her earlier confidence dimming like a storm cloud shrouding the sun. "No, I don't think we do," Mia replied, her voice quaking, yet defiance sparkled in her eyes. That flicker ignited something within Max, a protective instinct he couldn't ignore. He stepped forward, placing himself beside Mia, shoulder to shoulder. "Who are you and what do you want?" Max asked, his voice steady yet laced with authority. The room buzzed, and all eyes shifted between the two men, tension rising like steam in a kettle. The intruder let out a scoff. "I'm her well, let us just say someone from her past. Someone she hasn't been honest with." Max's spine stiffened at the accusation. Everything swirled in his mind, the dreams Mia had shared, the strength that sparked when she read her poetry. This moment was about to shatter, and he couldn't let that happen. Mia deserves to share her story, unencumbered by anyone from her past, he stated firmly, stealing a glance at her. Her nod gave him strength. "I'm not hiding anymore," Mia said, shaping her voice with courage that was compelling. "Everything I've gone through has shaped who I am today. I won't let you take that away from me." The crowd stirred, matching the storm brewing in Mia's heart. Max felt the swell of unity, a shared strength among all who had come to support her. Encouragement radiated from the audience, whispered reassurances that perhaps there was hope after all. "Sometimes I see the world through shattered glass," she began again, her voice rising with renewed determination. With each word, she wove a tapestry of her struggles, her battles, and her triumphs. Max stood rooted by her side, a silent guardian as she poured her heart into the open art. As the words flowed, something in the room shifted. The intruder's cold demeanor thawed, his expression mingling between disbelief and shame. Mia's truth was piercing through the barriers he had erected around himself. Max's heart raced as he felt the unseen walls around them both crumble. "Now, who's ready to embrace their truth?" he added, rallying the crowd. Cheering erupted, blanketing any lingering doubt. The intruder shifted, uncertain, retreating slightly under the weight of Mia's undeniable resolve. She turned toward the audience, feeling a sense of empowerment wash over her, transforming their energy into fuel. As Mia finished her poem, applause erupted like thunder. Ignited with pride, Mia basked in the warmth of acceptance. She stood taller, breathing easier, her heart soaring high at the triumph she had claimed not just for herself, but for everyone who felt trapped. Once the noise subsided, Max pivoted back toward the intruder, whose expression had morphed into something unrecognizable. "You came here for a reason, but if you truly care about Mia, you'll stand aside and let her shine." Finally, there was a flicker of realization in the intruder's gaze. Perhaps witnessing Mia's moment had stirred something deep within him, remnants of ability to choose a different path. With a heavy sigh, he turned and stepped back, disappearing into the crowd. Mia held her breath, watching as that part of her past melted away, leaving a void where once there was darkness. "Thank you," she whispered to Max, her voice a blend of disbelief and gratitude. He smiled back, tears threatening to fall. "You did that. You faced it." She glanced at Laura, seeing the jubilant expressions on their faces. "I couldn't have done it without you both." The warmth flooded her heart as she embraced the swirling affection filling. The air of family born from shared stories and dreams. So simple, yet so perfect. As the gala began to echo with laughter and hope again, Max felt a wave of purpose surge within him. He was not just a millionaire but now a part of something bigger, building futures, healing wounds, empowering voices. Tonight, he had confronted his own past, committed to stepping into the light alongside Mia, to journey together. The future was unwritten, but no matter what lay ahead, they knew they wouldn't walk alone. And that was the beauty of transformation. They had begun a new chapter, a unity forged through empathy and shared journeys. As Mia beamed with newfound confidence, Max couldn't help but think, what if this was just the start? All around them, hope blossomed, and for a moment, the world felt brighter than ever. To those watching from the sidelines, this was not just a tale of two individuals. It was a movement, a cry to action. You need to subscribe now. Don't miss the next incredible stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Show your support. Comment your reactions and feelings about this ending. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Because together we can inspire change. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Embrace the power of connection.